All right, everybody, welcome back to the 5th episode of the Triple D's podcast. I'm Devin. I'm here with David once again. Today we're going to be discussing some of the recent games, recent hot topics that have gone on in the NBA so far. There's been a lot going on. The playoffs are coming up soon. Got a lot to talk about. There's a tight playoff race in the Western Conference. Who we think is going to come out the East. We think some teams are pretenders or contenders. We'll just give our takes on some of those stuff today's episode. David, you got anything to say?
No, let's get started.
All right, let's get it. So I'm just going to low-key freestyle this. So I'm just going to start with some teams. Do you want to start Eastern or Western Conference?
Let's start Western.
Okay, let's start with the West. So first team I want to talk about, we'll talk about, they're most likely, they should be locked into the 1 seed, the Nuggets. Obviously they haven't clinched the 1 seed yet, but they should be fine to hold that 1 seed come playoff time. They've been playing pretty good recently. They've been playing after their long losing streak. They did lose to the Pelicans last night as we were recording, but they beat the Bucks in a huge game, and then they beat the 76ers as well, although that was without Embiid and Harden. I just want to hear your takes on the team, so far, how you think they've been playing so far, any guys you've been impressed with, just anything you got on the Nuggets.
Yeah, so obviously I was very high on them after they finally, had some good wins against the Bucks and the Sixers. But as of the recording this, they're going to play the Phoenix Suns, who are fully healthy tonight. For the most part. So I don't think Michael Porter Jr., KCP, Jamal, Jokic, and missing one more starter.
Yeah, someone else.
Yeah, somebody else. But Aaron Gordon is going to be the only starter who's going to be playing tonight. So we're probably going to get blown out. But it did kind of suck, Even though Jokic didn't play against the Pelicans, I still think that the Nuggets are too talented of a team to lose as bad as they did, because yes, they did show some fight in the fourth quarter. Jamal has to be that guy. Aaron has to be better. MPJ was at 1.4 for 14, just in terms of field goals. So, they really got to tighten up, especially against a Pelicans team who was 38 and 38.
Yeah, mediocre.
So the Nuggets just got to be better in that. I am a little worried for their number 1 spot, because if they lose tonight, they'll be 51 and 28, something like that.
Right now, the Grizzlies are 3 games behind them, and the Grizzlies are playing the Clippers right now. So if the Grizzlies win, the Nuggets lose, then it'll just be 2 games.
Yeah, so the Grizzlies still can come up on them, but if the Nuggets don't tighten up, they'll probably barely edge it out.
Mm-hmm. So for me, I think that Pelicans game, it sucked. Especially since they were at home. Even without Jokic, I think they should be able to beat a mediocre Pelicans team, but their defense wasn't all that good. Nobody really stepped up. But I really loved their win against the Bucks on last Saturday. That was a really good win. They won by 20. Everyone was healthy. Giannis played, Jrue Holiday played, Chris Middleton played, Jokic played. Everyone played. And the Nuggets just played so good in the second half. It was like a tie game at halftime. They came in the third quarter, beginning of the fourth, and they just ran away with it. Giannis still had a good game, but they really did a good job on defense. Jokic, I'm pretty sure, had another triple-double. Jamal played really good in that game. So I like that. I was really bummed when Joel Embiid didn't play on Monday. That man is dodging, bruh. That was unbelievable. You got to play in that game, man. Jokic came to your home court. He played. He lost. He played worse. Yeah, I get it. But now you got to. As I heard Kendrick Perkins say, and I actually agreed for the one time with Kendrick Perkins. He said he's dodging the smoke. Now you got to come to his house and you got to show you can do it there too. These teams only play 2 times a year, so you only get one chance, one in Philly and one in Denver to show. He didn't want to come to Denver, and he could have easily played for sure. He could have rested the game before on a back-to-back and then played in this game, because he then played against, I believe, the Suns or something like that. Then he played against them 2 nights after, so I didn't like that at all. But that win didn't really impress me for the Nuggets. They almost choked against really depleted 76ers team, but Nuggets have a really interesting schedule coming up. So I'm gonna give you the rest of their schedule, and I want you to tell me what you think their record's gonna be for these last 6 games. So tonight they play against the Suns in Phoenix. Sunday, April 2nd, they play against Golden State at home. They play against the Rockets in Houston. Phoenix again in Phoenix. They play against Utah in Utah. And then their last game of the season is against Sacramento at home. So that's 6 games. What do you think their record will be, and what do you think they'll need to be in order to secure the 1 seed?
Yeah, so obviously starting tonight with the Suns, and I think they'll lose this game. Then their next game will be April 2nd. They'll have 2 days of rest. I think that'll be a win, even though the Warriors are somewhat healthy. They're just missing Wiggins, and the Nuggets are great at home. Rockets, that's an easy W at Houston. They'll be back in Phoenix on the 6th. So I'm guessing Jokic and really the whole starting
Hopefully
lineup will
everyone's
be healthy by then.
game.
Yeah, so I think, man, I'm going to say win because a little bit biased, but I think, they're probably going to get embarrassed tonight. So they're definitely going to want to get their get back. And then against the Jazz, that's another win. And then against the Kings, I'm going to say that's going to be a loss, even though I hate to say it. But I think the Kings are just really going to want to finish out the regular season strong. And, I think they're really going to just want to upset the Nuggets on their home court on the last game of the season.
So what do you think the record's going to be the last 6 games? 4-2?
So, so the next 6 games, I think they'll be 4-2. I'd say that. That's
which
their
games
best.
Do you think they'll lose? Phoenix tonight and Sacramento?
Yeah.
So I think the magic number for them is 3 wins. I think they need to go 3-3 to secure the 1 seed, and I have confidence in them to do that. I also agree. I think they'll lose to Phoenix tonight, as they'll be missing pretty much everyone. Golden State, as much as I really want Golden State to win that game, as that's probably the hardest game of their season for the rest of the year, and that would be a huge win for them on the road against the best team in the West. I don't think they're the favorites to come out of that one, so I will take the Nuggets in that one, although I would love to see the Warriors bring that one home. They'll definitely beat the Rockets. I wouldn't be surprised if they lose to the Suns, especially if everyone's healthy, but I think they'll win. I think Jokic will have a good game then. Depends. Utah, that might just be one fluke game, kind of like the Pelicans or something like that. And against Sacramento, I feel like both Sacramento and Denver, nobody's going to play. Fox isn't going to play, Sabonis is going to play, Jokic isn't going to play. So I don't think that game's going to matter really at that point. So I don't know who's going to win that one. But I have them going 4-2. I could see them losing. I could see them losing to the Suns tonight. Sacramento in the last game. There's a chance they lose to the Warriors. And also against the Suns in that other game. So one other thing I wanted to mention is like the rotation for the Nuggets, like how it's been going. I really hated like those trade deadline trades that they made for Thomas Bryant and Reggie Jackson. I thought that was going to help them so much, but those trades could actually be super detrimental to the team. I mean, like Reggie Jackson has been horrible. His shooting percentage, I don't even want to know. It's been horrible. He can't facilitate the second unit. Thomas Bryant already also fell out of the rotation. He's been bad. He had a chance to claim that backup spot with Zeke Naji being out for over a month, and he just never could because for some reason, after being really good with the Lakers all year, he comes to Denver and just stinks it up. So that really sucks for them. They don't have a solidified backup point guard that can give them solid minutes now. And Zeke Naji, obviously not the most trustworthy backup center in the whole league, so they don't have like the best backup center for the best center in the league. So, I mean, that's what I don't like about that. That, I think, could really come back to bite them come playoff time. But overall, I have high hopes for Jamal Murray in the playoffs. I think Jokic is going to do his thing, although he really needs to just step up his defense a little bit if they want to make it far. I feel like if there's one reason why they're going to lose is because teams are going to take advantage of his defense. Him in the pick and roll, he literally can't guard the pick and roll. If you switch him onto any guard, if you switch him onto Steph Curry, Devin Booker, Paul George, anybody, if you switch him onto them, he's food. So, I mean, like, that's also, I think, it's going to be huge for them. So, I want to hear your takes on the Nuggets rotation and their players and everything.
Yeah, obviously the rotation's been super inconsistent in terms of how good they play. Bruce Brown, Christian Brown, they've really been the only bright spots for the Nuggets bench. And yeah, come playoff time, like really all you can hope is for if Thomas Bryant plays, Reggie is probably not going to play at all during the playoffs. But you just hope that if they ever do touch the floor, that they at least play decent. And yeah, like you said, the trade deadline really did not go well for the Nuggets. And yeah, I think Jokic is definitely going to step up defensive wise, just because I mean it's a playoffs, who wouldn't? And Jamal, if we can just get at least like 80% of Bubble Murray, I think that they can go really far.
Okay, so now what I want to hear, put every single Nuggets bias. I'll put mine away. You put yours away. Put it all out the window. Denver Nuggets, and answer this legitly: contenders or pretenders?
They're contenders because I haven't seen that many losses against teams that make them a pretender. JJ Redick said it, like there's so many teams in the Western Conference that are worthy and can take the Western Conference. So with no bias, they are contenders.
Putting my bias away, I'm gonna have to take the opposite side. I think that I really want them to go far, but I think that they're pretenders. I don't know why. I've had a feeling ever since they've like gained a real good grasp of that one seed that they're just the Phoenix Suns from last year. Like they're like almost the same team. I mean, the Suns, they won like 60 games last year. We all know what happened, the Luka special in the second round. They didn't even make it to the Western Conference Finals. So let's do some theoreticals here. Potential matchups. Let's assume they keep the one seed. Potential matchups. The Lakers could jump to that 8 seed depending on how the play-in results. OKC, the Pelicans, the Timberwolves, maybe the Warriors if they drop, and maybe the Mavericks if they get back in. I think there'll be every single one of those teams, but I think there's teams that can take advantage of those weaknesses. Like the Lakers, they're obviously scary. I mean, you never know with the Lakers. Like I don't really know about that too much. If the Mavericks find a way to sneak in after their horrible post-Kyrie trade season, if they somehow find a way, man, Luka's gonna I feel like the Mavericks always have the Nuggets number. Like in the past couple of years, every time they've like played in the regular season, I feel like they've always had their number. And then let's say the second round. Let's say they make it out the first round. Second round, they play against the 4 or the 5 seed. Potential 4 or 5 seeds: Suns, Clippers, Warriors. Those are probably most likely top 3 that are going to be either the 4 or 5 seed. That's going to move on. The Phoenix Suns, I really don't have confidence in them being the Phoenix Suns. If Kevin Durant's on his game, if Devin Booker is playing like he is right now, I just don't have confidence in that. Against the Clippers, I think they have, out of those 3 teams, the best chance to beat the Clippers. Because the Clippers don't have as much, like they don't really have, they have Zubats, but I think Jokic can definitely feast against that Clippers defense. I think we've seen in the regular season this year that the Nuggets are definitely an overall better team than the Clippers. The Warriors is the team the Nuggets don't want to face, man. We saw what happened last year. Yes, there was no Jamal. Yes, there was no MPJ. But it was just players getting put into position, Obviously, the Warriors took advantage of the big weakness, the pick-and-roll defense. Jordan Poole emerged because of that. Stephen Curry played extremely good even coming off the bench because of that. Yes, the Nuggets are going to have more now, but I just don't think they want to see those teams. And then if they do make it past in the Western Conference Finals, who knows? Maybe they're going against the Grizzlies. Maybe they're going against the Suns, one of those teams. I don't know, man. I feel like if they can make it to the Western Conference Finals, then they have a good shot. But I think they got to make it past those, like, tough teams, the Suns, the Clippers, the Warriors. I think they got to make it past them, and I don't know about that, man.
Yeah, the West definitely has more tough teams than the Eastern Conference. And I get where you're coming from, but for example, like I don't agree with the comparison with like the Suns last year. I think the Suns were more of a cocky and like not likable first seed.
Not
And
comparing the
the Nuggets,
attitudes.
while yes they have, oh yeah, I know, but the Nuggets, I think while they have taken a little bit of a backseat and while being the number 1 seed, I think the Nuggets really understand the intensity of the playoffs. For example, like a guy like Aaron Gordon, who all of his career was with such a bad team in the Orlando Magic. Obviously the past 2 years against the Suns and the Warriors, he played in not the best situation because Jamal in the last year was not available. So I think by having Jamal and Michael Porter Jr. this year is going to be very important to them. And yeah, and those three teams, you said the Clippers, Grizzlies, and Warriors. I think the Clippers are the only opponent that I would see like as somewhat of a guarantee to win. The Warriors are definitely a team. The Warriors are the number one team, if not, or number 1 or 2 team you don't want to see in the Western Conference. The Grizzlies, we can definitely beat them.
I agree.
But yeah.
Yeah, I think the Suns and the Warriors are like 1 and 2 that the Nuggets don't want to see. I honestly, even with the Warriors struggling, even if the Warriors end up as like the 6, 7, maybe even 5 seed, even if they end up, I don't think they want to see them. Not because the Warriors necessarily have the overall better team, but the Warriors match up so good against the Nuggets, and the Nuggets match up so poorly against the Warriors, because Draymond Green is like the perfect player to guard Jokic. Like we all saw, Draymond Green really held Jokic in check in the last year's playoffs. Nobody can guard Steph Curry on the Nuggets. Nobody can guard Steph Curry. If Jordan Poole does half of what he did last year, that's good. They have Gary Payton back for defensive purposes for Jamal Murray. It's just bad matchups. You have Wiggins, who if he comes back per se, guarding MPJ. It's just Looney on Aaron Gordon. I mean, it's just bad matchups. I mean, seriously, as much as the Nuggets have definitely been a better team this season than the Warriors, it's just bad matchups. Same goes with the Suns. As much as Chris Paul has regressed, and as much I don't like his play style and everything, he's still all well known for his pick and roll game, coming off, getting to that spot on the elbow and just hitting that pull up every single time. Devin Booker, I mean, yes, we brought in those defenders and Bruce Brown and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, but do I trust them enough to completely lock down a guy like Devin Booker not choking? Let's say they face Luka Doncic in the first round. Let's say they have to guard LeBron, playoff Steph Curry, who's locked in. I don't know, man. That's where my pretender takes come from. Although, if they can make it past the second round, I can easily see them making it to the NBA Finals.
Overall, the Warriors' home court advantage that they had last year really affected the Nuggets. So I think the Nuggets, if they do match up against the Warriors at any point, they will have a better chance because they will have home court advantage and a better roster.
All right, so next team I want to talk about is the Memphis Grizzlies, the number 2 seed right now in the Western Conference. They've been pretty hot recently. They beat the Warriors, they beat the Mavericks, they won two straight against the Rockets, they beat the Hawks, the Magic, and then they just lost finally to the Clippers 2 nights ago. So the Grizzlies, they've been catching fire. This is honestly like some of the best basketball I've seen them play, like all throughout like the time, like last year and this year, that they've been like a really good team in the Western Conference. So it's kind of starting to like make me think like, okay, these guys might be good, but let me know, do you think they're contenders or pretenders?
I think they're pretenders, but they could go to the Western Conference Finals, in my opinion, with how good they're playing, because really, even though the whole year I thought that they were kind of a weirdly good team, I think it's just mainly been their chemistry that has really carried them. They're a great team scoring in the paint, especially with Ja. He can finish with some crazy layups, and even if you take away the paint, they still have some great shooters like Luke Kennard and Bane. So yeah.
And
I think they can make it.
And another underrated thing, I was hearing some talks about like possible like not dark horse MVP candidates, but like somebody who could get like a 4th or 5th place vote. And I heard people talking about Jaren Jackson Jr. And at first thought I was like, what the hell? And then I realized it's like, okay, this is actually like, this could be decent. The Memphis Grizzlies are the 2 seed. Ja Morant was out for a good chunk of the season. Jaren Jackson Jr. missed the first part of the season. Jaren Jackson Jr. is having the best year of his career. He's the leading candidate for Defensive Player of the Year. He's averaging 3 blocks per game. He's averaging a double-double, and Jaren Jackson is just such a good presence all around on the team. He's really been the best player on the team this season. I mean, Jaren Jackson Jr. has really pushed this team forward and helped them continue to be good throughout Ja's absence, throughout his suspension and all that. So Jaren Jackson Jr. has really helped accelerate the game for them. The addition of Luke Kennard has been great. He had that 10 3-pointer game. Obviously, he's a great shooter. I also like Tyus Jones when he had to step in for Ja Morant. I think Tyus Jones is the better point guard than Ja Morant. Obviously, Ja Morant's a better player, but I think he's a better point guard in terms of facilitating the game, and he fits more into the scheme of how the Grizzlies run things because he always puts up good numbers and always seems to know exactly what he's doing every time he's out there with the starters. So Steven Adams, hopefully he'll come back for them. He's been out for a long time now, but hopefully he'll be back for them come playoff time. I think he will. But I think they have overall, a really good team. I think it's just their youth that can't take them that much far, bit of their cockiness. And that's the thing. Ja Morant's, I'll live on this forever unless he takes like a huge next step, like in his maturity, in his game, in his overall leadership, everything. I think that he can't lead this Grizzlies team to a championship, like at all. What are you laughing about? What, bro?
Bro, stop.
What?
Sorry.
Oh, I thought you were laughing at me.
No.
Oh. Okay, where was I? So, yeah, I think Ja Morant can't lead this team, like, past, like, the second round. Like, maybe they could get to the Western Conference Finals, but there's no way I see them coming out the West. I have 4 other teams that I have over them. I mean, and to end their season, they have another game against the Clippers right now. They play against Chicago. Portland should be an automatic win. They play against the Pelicans, the Bucks, and the Thunder. So their last 3 games are actually pretty tough against New Orleans, Milwaukee, and OKC. So obviously they still have a chance to get that 1 seed. I doubt it's going to happen, though, and I don't think they care too much for it because 7 seed, 8 seed will probably be one of those teams, Lakers, OKC, Minnesota, something like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think, like you said, they probably won't come out of the West. But I think if they add a little bit more vets, really their only vets are like Luka Kennard and Steven Adams. But yeah, I could definitely see them getting like decently far. And Ja, like you said, Tyrese Jones, he's definitely a better like overall point guard, but Ja's definitely kind of like their energizer bunny.
I think if Jaren Jackson Jr. performs like how he's been in the regular season, I could definitely see them pulling off an upset against a team like the Suns, the Nuggets, something like that. If he continues to excel, obviously he's one of the, if not the best defenders in the league. If he has to get guard, say, Nikola Jokic or Domantas Sabonis in a playoff series, I can really see that having a big impact on who wins that series. So I think Jaren Jackson is going to be the X factor for the Grizzlies in their playoff push, but it's going to come down to Ja Morant, like how he performs as obviously the number 1 guy on the team during the playoff push. So moving on from Memphis, next team I want to talk about, clap it up, man. The Sacramento Kings are going to the playoffs for the first time in 17 years. 2006 was the last time. Mike Bibby was their point guard. I wasn't alive. I don't know if you were alive. Dude, that's insane. Good for Sacramento, man. They got some of the most loyal fans, bro. One clip I want to bring up, I don't know if you remember. Do you remember after the Kings won a Summer League game, those guys that came out and said, we're getting 40 wins this season. We're getting 40 wins. Well, the Kings are 46-30. They are the 3rd seed in the Western Conference, and just a couple nights ago, they clinched a playoff berth. Man, Sacramento is going crazy right now. I'm happy for them, and well-deserved. I mean, they have a squad, man. I mean, De'Aaron Fox, obviously, first-time All-Star. He's taken a huge leap in his game. Domantas Sabonis, obviously he was already an all-star with Indiana, but he came over and fits perfectly with De'Aaron Fox. Them two, they're a great duo. They got pieces all around. Harrison Barnes has been playing good. Trey Lyles has been playing good. Malik Monk off the bench. Kevin Huerter was a great addition for them. They just have a lot of chemistry. They have a good overall team all around, so I really like them. The only thing is, so many people are writing them off, kind of including me, because obviously, like, they don't have that playoff experience. They haven't been there in forever. Everyone thinks, first or second round exits. De'Aaron Fox, no playoff experience. Sabonis, no playoff experience. The veteran leadership on that team isn't the highest. And then obviously also they're really a bad defensive team. Literally, they are just like the Warriors. Like this year, they are like go go go. We're gonna score 140 points and we're gonna pray that the other team scores less. And hey, it's worked. And I mean that's Mike Brown's game plan. So I also want to shout out Mike Brown, former Warriors assistant coach. Literally, this is one of the best coaching jobs I've seen in past years. First year head coach coming to a franchise, the worst franchise in the NBA for the past 15 or so years, completely flipping it around, taking them to the playoffs, and I just know that they are hungry to win a series. So it's looking likely that, barring some crazy circumstance, they're going to be the 3 seed. They're 5 games ahead of the Suns, 2 games behind the Grizzlies. It's like pretty much certain they're going to be the 3 seed. The 6 seed is kind of still up for grabs. The Warriors right now are the 6 seed at 40-37, but the Pelicans are a game behind them. The Timberwolves are a game behind them. The Lakers are a game and a half. The Timberwolves and the Lakers play tonight, and then the winner will inch closer to the Warriors for the 6th seed. The Clippers, they're the 5th seed. They could drop. Let's say they start losing. They don't have Paul George. The Warriors start winning some games. The Suns could still drop. But it's looking likely that a Warriors-Kings first-round matchup might actually happen. The Battle of the Bay. That would be pretty insane. Before I go, I want to hear your thoughts on what you think about the Kings in general, how they match up, let's say if they do face Golden State, and what you think are the best and the worst matchups for them come playoff time.
Yeah, it's crazy because I was only a couple months old when the last time they were in the playoffs.
That's
so
crazy.
Yeah, I think that I would love to see a Warriors-Kings matchup, even though my number one matchup I would love to see would be the Grizzlies and the Warriors. But the Kings don't match up that great against the Warriors just because, like you said, they're one of the worst teams defensively. And obviously, we know that the Warriors have the Splash Bros. So, but even then, like, they're, 90 miles apart? Like, both arenas are going to be filled, like, 50-50 with Warriors and Kings fans. So, yeah, but they're both still great offensive teams. Both have great chemistry together. So, yeah, I would love to see that matchup.
The thing with that matchup is I confidently have the Warriors winning, not just as a Warriors fan, but because they, just like kind of with the Nuggets, they match up perfectly. One, the Warriors are literally the most experienced team in the whole league come playoff time. That is the number one reason why no matter how bad they are, no matter what seed they are, you can never count them out because they've won 4 chips with their core 3 of Steph, Clay, and Draymond. The Kings have absolutely nothing. The travel, I heard Draymond Green talk on his podcast. The big reason he wants to face the Kings is because the travel, it's like a 45-minute bus ride. As you mentioned, the arenas are probably going to be 50-50. It's going to be like an extremely even series. I think Sabonis is sort of the same as Jokic defensively. Sabonis is definitely a better interior defender in terms of like shot blocking and contesting around the rim. But just like what the Warriors did to the Nuggets last year, they're going to do the same thing. They're going to run pick and roll. They're going to get Sabonis on Curry or Poole or somebody, and they're just going to cook them. The Warriors have such a good game plan. While I think, yes, the Kings will have an advantage in terms of Mike Brown being the coach. He literally knows every single Warrior scheme for being the assistant coach for the past 8 years. He literally knows all that about them. I think the Warriors have the clear advantage in them. Tell me right now who's going to guard Steph Curry.
Man, I would put De'Aaron on him.
Oh, and how do you think that's going to go? Exactly. Yep, you don't even need to say anything. So, they have Steph Curry, who's going to cook.
I'll let you finish.
So, they're going to have Steph Curry, who's going to cook. I trust Draymond Green to guard Sabonis. I trust Dante DiVincenzo to play solid defense on De'Aaron Fox. I wouldn't be surprised if Wiggins comes back. Maybe they switch Wiggins onto them. But as long as they don't let Kevin Huerter cook, Harrison Barnes, former Warrior, I don't think he's a threat with our defense, with our lineup. Trey Lyles, he's not a threat. I think the Warriors, although, yeah, they've had their bench struggles, they definitely, I think, as of right now, have a better bench with the addition of Gary Payton, obviously Jordan Poole. I think a lot of the Warriors will depend on Jordan Poole if he'll be able to be that really good sixth man, because he was a huge piece for the Warriors championship team last year, obviously. He's slowed it down a little bit this year, but you never know what he's going to do in the playoffs, but I think the Kings are a horrible matchup. I think even though they'll have home court advantage, I confidently have the Warriors winning in 5 or 6 against Sacramento.
Yeah, I think I kind of disagree with it. I think it would go 7 games. I think you are like underestimating them a little bit. I do agree that yes,
Name one area
they have
the
0
Kings are better than the Warriors.
No, let me finish. Yes, the Kings do have 0 playoff experience, but you never know, man. Like, I think if you were to compare like this series to last year's series with the Nuggets, it just doesn't compare that much, just because the Nuggets were the 6th seed, not nearly as good as the Warriors. But we'll see if Wiggins comes back. I trust that like Gary Payton will play well, because you also have to really think about the role players in this. But yeah, I'd say this series goes to 7.
I don't see it going to 7,
way.
bro. You couldn't even answer my question. Who's good at guard 7? You couldn't answer my question about where the Kings are better. They have the same thing.
I told you who would Steph. Now I told you who would guard Steph.
I told you the Kings aren't better anywhere. I trust Kevon Looney to guard Sabonis, and he's not even going to be guarding him. It's going to be Draymond Green. We excel everywhere. Kevon Looney is a better or around a similar rebounder as Sabonis. Our bench is a little bit better. Yes, they have Keegan Murray, Malik Monk coming off the bench, but Gary Payton's going to be guarding it's either going to be one of Gary Payton or Dante DiVincenzo on De'Aaron Fox, and then the other on Malik Monk off the bench. Yes, the Kings, obviously, the Kings are going to win a game. We are not going to sweep them. The Kings match up really bad, though. Yeah, they have the same, like, offense where they, like, it's just go, go, go. They, like, want to score. They have that fast-paced offense and everything. But, man, you say don't underestimate the Kings. You're underestimating the Warriors, bro. This is not some, like, random team who's come to play. Bro, did you not watch Steph Curry in last year's playoffs? I will put my life savings that this man is going to have the same playoff run as last year. I don't care. Steph Curry is the best player in the world, bro. He is not going to... He's not going to go away when the lights are too bright against the Sacramento Kings, who's been in the playoffs for the first 17 years. It's not going to happen. I can confidently say the Warriors are going to beat the Kings, even if the Kings have home court advantage. And yes, I see some parts of your argument. And the Kings, I'm not going to doubt them at all, as much as I want them to see them win a playoff series, not against the Warriors. I don't think they're going to beat the Warriors at all. Okay, next team I want to talk about is... Oh, wait, let me pull up their schedule again real quick. Let me do the Suns. Okay. All right, next team I would like to talk about is the Phoenix Suns. Kevin Durant just came back from his injury a couple nights ago against the Timberwolves. Didn't play good at all in his home debut, but Devin Booker still carried the load. The Suns are interesting this year. We haven't seen much of them with Durant, but when they are together, it seems to work very good, and it seems to live up to expectations, how Kevin Durant fits on that team. I really like what I've seen from the role players, which is kind of what I doubted from them in terms of, like, who's going to be coming off their bench and all that, like, after trading away Jay Crowder, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson. But I think they have NBA champion potential. How can you not have NBA champion potential when you have Devin Booker and Kevin Durant as your duo on your team? You can't. So you can agree that they're contenders, not pretenders. Yes?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, not saying they're the number 1 contender in the league, but you can't count out that team. Let's say they stay the 4 seed. They're going to play against either the Clippers, the Warriors, maybe somehow like the Timberwolves or something, but either the Clippers or the Warriors in the first round, the 5 seed. What do you think both of those series would look like if, like, both against the Clippers and the Warriors? Do you think the Suns can win both of them? Do you think they will win both of them? What do you think?
I think they could definitely win against the Clippers, just because I think overall the Clippers are kind of in a weird spot. They would really need Russell to
They
step
need
up
Paul
with
George. I
Paul
just want to
George.
come in and say that Paul George might not be healthy for the first round, so that would kill them.
Yeah. A Warriors matchup would be so
I need that, bro.
with the Suns. The Warriors don't, or not the Warriors. The Suns just don't have depth, man. They don't really have that good depth, and it's like their number one weakness. And I think it's a weakness that is probably one of the worst to have.
Yeah. I think they'll make it out the first round. I think they'll play against the Clippers. I feel like what the standings are right now will hold 1 through 6. Nuggets, Grizzlies, Kings, Suns, Clippers, Warriors. I feel like it'll hold like that. The most I could see is Warriors moving up, or maybe Suns moving back, or Clippers moving back. The 4, 5, 6, that is most likely to change. Or even somehow like the Timberwolves or Pelicans jump into the 6th seed, Lakers maybe, something like that. But I think the Suns will beat the Clippers, especially if Paul George isn't back. They beat them in 5 games in the Western Conference Finals when they played 2021. The teams aren't too different, except the Suns have Kevin Durant now, so that helps. Except Chris Paul is on a decline. Chris Paul sucks now, dude. If you watch the games, he is not even close to what he is. He misses all these shots, stupid turnovers. He's a foul baiter. Nobody likes him. He's not even close to what he was not even 2 years ago, which is horrible. Against the Warriors, I think that's the one matchup the Warriors don't want in the first round, the Suns. They would like to play the Kings. They would like to play the Grizzlies. They'd like to play the Clippers. I don't think that they would want to play the Suns. I think that's the one matchup that they would not want to go. Without Andrew Wiggins, that would be a really tough series for the Warriors to win, because Andrew Wiggins would be the guy to guard Kevin Durant. If Wiggins doesn't come back and they have to play the Suns in the first round, that drops my confidence in them a lot. Yes, Steph Curry can still go off and do his thing. They don't have Mikal Bridges or anyone like that to guard him. Josh Okogie is probably the best they have, and Steph Curry is definitely going to cook Josh Okogie. DeAndre Ayton has been playing the best, and Devin Booker obviously chokes in some big scenarios. We've seen that in the finals against the Mavericks last year in the second round. But I think that series will probably go to 7, Suns versus Warriors. Obviously, Kevin Durant against his old team, that would be insane to see. But the Suns are interesting. I think they can beat every single team in the West, but I don't think there's like a single team 1 through 6 that I have like 100% confidence in them beating. They're a weird team. Do you agree? Like, they're kind of like weird to rank right now, like in terms of like how far they'll go.
Yeah, they kind of are a weird team just because like of how little KD's play. Yeah. But at the same time, like I said, they have not great depth. But Kevin Durant, at this point of his career, he's super injury prone. So you can't like 100% rely on him being healthy every game. And even though, yeah, he probably will play every game, like eventually he might have an injury that he just can't play through.
Okay, next team I want to talk about for a little bit is the New Orleans Pelicans, who actually have been playing really good as of recently. They seem to be trending upwards. Zion Williamson nearing his return. I have a feeling he'll play like a ramp-up game or two before the playoffs or the play-in if the Pelicans stay there. But Brandon Ingram's really been stepping up. I've been really impressed with him. He's been having some really good games the past couple days or so. Obviously, that loss to the Warriors was horrible. They choked a 20-point halftime lead, but then they went into Denver, and albeit without Jokic, they went in and they really performed well, and they really played a good game and beat Denver. They beat the Clippers by 20 also last Saturday. I mean, and they kind of have they have a really tough schedule coming up. They have 5 games left this season. They play against the Clippers, the Kings, the Grizzlies, the Knicks, and the Timberwolves. But four of those games are at home, and only one of them is on the road. So they have 5 games left: Clippers, Kings, Grizzlies, Knicks, Pelicans. So Clippers, I think they're gonna beat the Clippers. The Clippers, without Paul George, they've been kind of struggling, and Pelicans are kind of on a roll now. I think they'll win that game at home. Against the Kings, depending on who plays, I think I would say they'll lose that one. Against the Grizzlies at home, I'd say that's like a 50-50, but I'll say a loss for them. And then as of then, that puts them at 1-2 with 2 games left. At that point, who knows where they'll be? They could be the 7th seed, they could be the 11th seed with how crazy the Western Conference is, right? So if they do lose those games to 2 really good teams in the Kings and the Grizzlies, they have to beat the Knicks and the Timberwolves. That Timberwolves game on the last game of the year, Pelicans versus Timberwolves, that could change the standings a lot. Like a lot. So the Pelicans have some really important games coming up. I think they have what it takes to definitely make it to the playoffs. Like, I mean, assuming, let's say they stay in the play-in, I think they could definitely make it out of the play-in. Yeah, there's some tough teams like the Lakers, the OKC, Minnesota's been playing pretty good recently. I think it's all going to come down to Zion, to be honest. Obviously they were the number 1 seed. He got hurt, and now look where they are. So I think he has a huge impact on this team, whether he comes back perfectly fine or what. So let me know, what do you think the Pelicans' rest of season outlook is?
I think that it does. I think Zion is going to play a big part in this. If he comes back to, I'd say like 70% of what he was and what he needs to be, I think that they can be pretty decent. But at the end of the day, I think at best they'll be a play-in team, and I don't really think that they'll play that well if they do make the playoffs. But I'm not super high.
Yeah, I mean, Valanciunas, he's been playing pretty decent. Trey Murphy has been playing really good for them. But they just don't have, like, the best team. Like, CJ McCollum, he hasn't been playing that good recently, honestly. Like really, and CJ McCollum, I don't really know how much I trust him playoff time. Like, if the Pelicans make it as the 7 or the 8 seed or whatever. Let's say they are the 8th seed, they play against the Nuggets. They're going to get swept or lose in 5. I can confidently say that. If they're the 7th seed, play the Grizzlies, I can see it going to max 6. But they are not making out the first round unless Zion comes back and becomes Jesus himself. So I don't really have too much on the Pelicans. They're kind of a strange team. And I wouldn't even be surprised if they don't make it out the play-in. Let's say they end up the 8th seed. Let's say the Timberwolves are the 7th seed or the Lakers are the 7th seed. I don't think they beat either of those teams in the play-in game. And then they have to play OKC, Dallas, maybe the Lakers, whoever, in the game that decides the 8th seed. I don't know. I don't have too much faith in them. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they make it, but I wouldn't be surprised if they don't. So, yeah. Next team I want to talk about is the Minnesota Timberwolves, who have actually been on a roll lately. They won a bunch of huge games. They won that painful game against the Warriors. That was horrible. They won some other big games. They lost to the Suns the other night, however, and Naz Reid suffered a broken wrist, and he's now out for probably the rest of the season. And he has had his best season of his career. He's been playing super good. He's, like, amazing as a backup big, one of the best backup bigs in the league. So, I mean, yes, they're fully healthy now. We're starting to see that maybe all those people that said that Cat and Gobert duo, like, is starting to work a little better, the way that Cat can, like, space the floor. But I don't really have high hopes for them. I mean, if they rematch against the Grizzlies like they like last year, and Anthony Edwards is, like, playing at a superstar level like he has been for a lot of this season, Karl Anthony Towns is back to playing his form, Rudy Gobert does a good job against, like, Jaren Jackson in the paint, I wouldn't be surprised for, like, a crazy upset there. So, I mean, the Timberwolves are a very interesting team, and I think they're ready to take that next step next season for sure.
Yeah, I think that I was a very big hater of the Rudy Gobert trade. I still don't really like it that much.
Everyone does,
yeah. But yeah, I think Anthony Edwards can definitely, if they were to play a team like the Grizzlies, could definitely help them. Maybe even take it a 7. I'd probably say 6 though. I guess. Yeah, but if they were to play, like, for example, the Nuggets in the first round, I think the Nuggets could sweep them.
I wouldn't write them off though, for sure. I mean, the Timberwolves kind of match up decent against the Nuggets, although the Nuggets are definitely going to win that series. I wouldn't say
automatically. But I think playoff time, the Nuggets are just a lot.
No, definitely they would beat them. But where do you think they're going to end once the season ends? Like, let me pull up their schedule real quick, and I want to see who they play in their last couple games, because, well, right now they're losing to the Lakers with 1 minute left in the fourth quarter. So let's assume this is a loss to the Lakers. They play the tanking Trailblazers. They're going to win that game. They play Brooklyn. They play San Antonio, which they should win. And they play, obviously, like I said earlier, the Pelicans in that last game. I think they just need to beat the Trailblazers. They're going to beat the Spurs. And if they can win against the Pelicans, that would probably give them a huge advantage. Probably have them as the 7 seed and then give them a way easier path to the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Wolves, like you said, they'll probably be the Spurs, and they'll probably drop this one tonight against the Lakers, and but also beat the Blazers. So yeah, I think you can't write them off, but if they were to play Denver with a little bit of bias, I think
and
they
they
would
just
get
straight up
swept.
don't move me come playoff time. That Cat and Gobert is not the duo that's gonna take you past. It's gonna be Anthony Edwards as if anybody, and I don't think he's quite ready to take that leap to be a top team like the Kings, the Nuggets, the Grizzlies. I don't think he's ready to take that. Next year, I think my hot take is that Anthony Edwards is going to be all NBA next year, and he's going to lead the Timberwolves past the first round. He's going to take an even bigger leap next season from what he did this year. That's my take. Anthony Edwards is a blooming star.
Yeah,
That's my take for them. So, next team I want to talk about is the hot topic right now, the Los Angeles Lakers. Obviously playing way better after all their trade deadline moves. Moving on from Russell Westbrook, trading for Malik Beasley, Jared Vanderbilt. They've definitely picked it up. LeBron just came back. They actually kind of held it down while LeBron was out. So that was pretty good of them. Anthony Davis has been staying fairly healthy recently. Dennis Schroeder's been playing good minutes. And then obviously Austin Reeves has really emerged as he's taken over as the starting shooting guard for them. And he's really started to play good. Do you think the Lakers are... Okay, I'll ask you. It might seem crazy to say, but Los Angeles Lakers, contenders or pretenders?
I mean, I wouldn't say either because they're not. I don't think they're good enough to contend.
That question is
right now.
Can they win the championship or can they not? At all? Even if it's a 2% chance.
They're not winning it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if they had a better start to the season, maybe they could be a better seed right now. But so they did just beat Minnesota, so that really helps them. I'm pretty sure that moves them past them. It does. So the Lakers now are going to be the 8th seed, and the Timberwolves are going to be the 9th seed. I feel like the Lakers, I don't think they're going to move up to 6. I think they're going to stay in the play-in. I think they'll make it out the play-in for sure. If they're either the 7-8 seed and they play in that one game where the winner takes the 7 seed, they're either going to play the Timberwolves or the Pelicans. I can definitely see them doing that. So my prediction is that the Lakers are going to be the 7th seed because I think that they're going to win that 7-8 game. So that would put them against the Grizzlies. Give me your take on a Lakers-Grizzlies series and a Lakers-Nuggets series. How do you think those would go?
I think a Lakers-Grizzlies series would go probably 5
How do you think it would match
games.
up? Not how many games or whatever. How do you think it matches up and how good do you think everyone's going to play?
I think that maybe... I think the Lakers match up just a little bit better, even though Memphis is a really good shooting team, even when they can't score in the paint. But the Lakers have a lot better playoff experience, and obviously you have LeBron James, who, whether it be him, playing well or being able to get other guys involved and elevating their game, I think overall that the Grizzlies would edge this one out.
What I think for the Grizzlies series, I think what you're missing out is Anthony Davis. I think the Lakers have a huge advantage in Anthony Davis. Jaren Jackson Jr., let's say they play against the Pelicans. Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to lock down Valanciunas and possibly Zion if he's back. The Timberwolves, Jaren Jackson's probably going to, as we saw last year, he's going to play pretty good against Cat and Gobert. The Thunder, who the hell is the Thunder center? Exactly. The Lakers, on the other hand, have a top 3 big man on their team when healthy in Anthony Davis. If Anthony Davis can stay healthy for this series, I think the Lakers can push this to 7. Like we were talking about earlier, the Grizzlies are pretenders. They're not going to go far. Are they going to be first round exits? Probably not. but the Lakers are not a team they want to see. Yes, I feel like Ja Morant would play really good in that series, but I think Anthony Davis, although being guarded by Jaren Jackson, I think he'd still feast. And then obviously LeBron James, he'd probably have Dylan Brooks guarding him, I'm guessing. And I think LeBron, I mean, who knows? We haven't seen LeBron in the playoffs since like that Suns series where they just kind of like stunk it up and lost to the Suns. But you never know with LeBron. I mean, obviously, yeah, he's older now, but just like with like the Warriors, like you just can't count the dude out. Although I think the Grizzlies could win this, and I wouldn't be like shocked like crazy if the Lakers were to beat the Grizzlies. Now, for the Nuggets, I think that would be interesting because I have seen so much talk about, the Lakers are beating the Nuggets in the first round. The 8 seed Lakers are beating the number 1 seed Nuggets. Lock it in. No, they are not, bruh. Hell no. Yeah, they can maybe push it to 6, but they are not going to win. Like seriously. I mean, the Nuggets are just such a better team overall. The Lakers are super inconsistent. They have all these guys who have really been like not playing all that good recently, like Malik Beasley, Troy Brown Jr. I mean, Dennis Schroeder's kind of inconsistent. I mean, like Jared Vanderbilt's not like the best scorer. I mean, yeah, they have some good matchups. I mean, Anthony Davis on Jokic, I mean, that would probably just be like even out in terms of like how good they would go against each other, like in terms of like their numbers and everything. Jamal Murray has the advantage at point guard. LeBron, I feel like, yeah, he'll put up his numbers, but he's not going to be able to do enough to lead them to win the series. So I think the Nuggets will definitely beat the Lakers if they face off in a 1-8 series.
Yeah, the Nuggets would definitely win in a 5 or 6 game series. They don't match up well, but like the Nuggets have a better roster. They have maybe not a better roster, but they definitely would play better than the Lakers. And I think that most people would maybe think that the Nuggets would like look down upon the Lakers for being the 8th seed, but I think the Lakers would look down and have a bigger ego than the Nuggets right now, and they would be like, oh yeah, we could definitely take them on, because like not only is the media saying that we can, but we also have LeBron, so I think that they would be in for a weakening against the Nuggets.
I've seen so many takes about the Lakers making it, beating the Nuggets, like making it far. These people need to shut up and stop riding the LA train, man. I mean, I'm serious. Like it's getting unbelievable, along with the Austin Reeves, all that stuff, the Pat Bev beef. Like, it's ridiculous, man. The Lakers aren't making it past the first round if they even make it out the play-in, bro. Like, we can't forget that the Lakers are an inconsistent team, and we can't forget who they really are. Like, everyone gets fooled when they win a game against like a decent team or something like that. Like everyone always gets fooled, and then they lose to a mediocre team, and which is like normal for them. And then everyone's like, "Oh, the Lakers suck," whatever. Nah, the Lakers are not a good team, bro. They're not sniffing the second round. I can confidently say that. The only way they will is if Anthony Davis plays as honestly the number 1 option, and if LeBron James turns into his normal self, playoff LeBron. So, yeah. Couple more teams in this episode for the Western Conference. Oklahoma City Thunder are super interesting. I can't tell if they're tanking or if they want to make the playoff. I can't tell, bruh. They are the 10 seed right now. They are a game ahead of the Mavericks. They're half a game behind the Lakers, and they're a game behind the Timberwolves and the Pelicans. Who knows what's going to happen with them? SGA, I'm pretty sure he's dealing with the injury. I think he might return soon. But they are so set up. I love the Thunder. They're set up so well for the future. Jalen Williams, J-Dub, is unbelievable, man. He has really just like hit a new level after the All-Star break. Like he's averaging like 20 points per game, like 8 rebounds. Like he's really turning into like who knows if he's going to be an All-Star next year or what. Like he's really elevating super quickly, and that Sam Presti's another hot take I have. Sam Presti is the best GM in the league. No doubt about it. The Thunder are so good with draft picks. So good. They fleeced the hell out of the Clippers in that Paul George trade. They fleeced the hell. They traded Russell Westbrook, got so many pieces for that. Like they really good. Like this rebuild is going perfectly. Like I don't see a better scenario in which the Thunder's rebuild is going better. But do I see them making it out of the play-in? I honestly don't think so. I just think some of the teams in there are better. Like in terms of a one game, like play-in game, like one game, I think the Lakers will beat them. I think Minnesota could beat them. I definitely think New Orleans can beat them. Give me your take on the Thunder.
Yeah, the Thunder, even though I really like Shy and Jalen Williams, I just don't think that's even close to enough to beat teams like the Timberwolves, the Lakers. So I think that really they're not going to make it out of the play-in, and even if they were to make it to the playoffs, they're either the Grizzlies or the Nuggets, they would get swept. And yeah, I don't disagree. Like their future does look bright, but right now at this moment, they just don't have enough to really push to make it.
Yeah, I mean they could even fall out of the play-in. I mean they're the 10th seed right now. The Mavericks win a couple games and boom, the Thunder are out. Especially if SGA is out for a while, but I honestly think they have like the best future for the next 5 years, regardless of what happens, whether they're the 11th seed or the 7th seed come playoff time. I think this season is a massive W for the Thunder. They're gonna get Chet Holmgren back next year. Josh Giddey is like already a veteran with his Jerry West, Bob Cousy ass 1960s play style. Somehow he's dominating the league. Jalen Williams is literally turning into a star. SGA, obviously, honestly, he's an MVP candidate. I mean, he's superstar. I mean, they are set up so nicely, man. I'm really excited to see what they can do down the stretch. So, last team I want to talk about is the Dallas Mavericks. By far the most embarrassing team post-trade deadline, post-All-Star break. Man, that Kyrie Irving trade just flipped everything for the Mavericks. They are the 11th seed. They are a game behind the Thunder for the 10th seed. And they are dropping games like flies. They lost to the Philadelphia 76ers last night. They lost 2 games in a row to the Charlotte Hornets. Fully healthy, man. Those 2 games really told me that this is not going to work. I have you seen all those clips of Luka talking about how he's depressed, how he hates this, all this? You've seen that in like his press conferences and everything. Kyrie is just a killer, man. He did it with the Celtics. He did it with the Nets. He's doing it again. Like he just kills the vibe of these teams who have aspirations for a championship. Those Celtics with the up-and-coming Jason Tatum and up-and-coming Jaylen Brown, they had such high hopes. And Kyrie Irving comes in, plays for them for 2-3 years, and betrays them. He goes, plays with his buddy KD. Everyone says, oh, the Nets are for sure winning the championship. They don't make it past the second round, and they get swept last year. Like, Kyrie Irving just kills him, man. I will always live by that. As talented as he is, and even though he's like a top 5 on-the-ball guy all time, he is just not the guy. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he stays long-term just because he's, like, happier in Dallas in terms of, like, less pressure on him or whatever. But shit, I mean, Luka's gonna fucking leave before him. So, like, it's unbelievable, man. One other thing I want to say about the Mavericks, Jason Kidd needs to be fired, bro. They're not going anywhere with Jason Kidd. If you watch a Mavericks game, bro, Jason Kidd is the worst ever. Mavericks get killed by big men. They get killed in the paint every single game. Guess what Jason Kidd does? Oh, let me put out Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Jalen Hardy, Josh Green, and Reggie Bullock. Like, he has Christian Wood sitting on the bench in crunch time. He has JaVale McGee. He has Dwight Powell, Maxi Kleber. It's horrible. Jason Kidd is horrible. I hope he gets fired, and I hope Luka demands Mark Cuban to fire him. Mark Cuban, you need to get your ass off Shark Tank and fix this roster because trading away Spencer Dinwiddie and Dorian Finney-Smith really hurt that team. Christian Wood probably is going to request a trade because why the hell would he want to play for a team that doesn't respect him? Maxi Kleber and Dwight Powell, as good as they were like the past couple years, they have been horrible defensively. They're a horrible defensive team. The only good thing going for them is that Kyrie might want to stay long-term and Jalen Hardy's being good. Other than that, nothing going for them. Honestly, at this point, they should just tank. They have a top 10 protected pick. through the Kristaps Porzingis trade, they could get, I don't know, say the 8th overall pick maybe, and then boom, there's another piece they have. Like, I don't know, man. Mavericks are really intriguing to me. I want to hear your takes on the Mavericks. I haven't heard you say much about the Mavericks. I want to hear.
Yeah, so at first I did like a retrade, even though they did give up Dinwiddie and Finney Smith. I think that they would be in a better spot if they didn't even do the trade at all.
For sure.
I think they'd be like at least in the play-in right
For
now.
sure.
And I think that I don't think Kyrie's going to stay in Dallas. I don't think he's any happier than Luka at all. But yeah, I think that they won't make it to the play-in this year. And I have something to say about the play-in here in a little bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, it's horrible, man. Okay. In the next 2 years, okay, let me put out a theoretical. The Mavericks don't even make the play-in this year. They get a decent pick. They draft a decent guy. Their first-round exits the next 2 years, but Kyrie stays. If you're Luka Doncic, what are you doing?
You're requesting a trade for sure.
I agree. And it is so sad that literally Luka Doncic is the best generational talent of the past 5 years. And he's just going to say, I'm getting my ass out of here. He doesn't want to play for Jason Kidd. He doesn't want to play with Kyrie, who's obviously a killer. They don't fit, man. They're both ball-dominant guards who like to play iso ball. And you can see how it's awkward when you watch the games. Like, I was watching, I think it was like a game a while ago against like the Lakers. I watched a bit of the Hornets game. I watched a bit of the 76ers game. It's just awkward, man. Like it feels like they like need to pass the ball to each other. Be nice or whatever. Like Luka's doing his thing, like directing traffic and everything, and Kyrie's just like standing there, and then Luka like doesn't get a lane, and he like passes it to Kyrie. And it's just like iso ball, and then you don't even have any like shooters really anymore, except like maybe Reggie Bullock like once in a blue moon. But like, it's horrible, man. The Mavericks have nothing going for them. I want to see Luka request a trade. I want to see where he goes. And although Kyrie says he wants to stay long term, he also said he wants to stay long-term in Boston. That didn't happen. He also said he wants to stay long-term in Brooklyn. That didn't happen. And I think his ego, just like he had in Cleveland, being number 2 behind LeBron, I think it's going to catch up to him again, just like it did with KD, and I think he's going to leave. And Kyrie Irving, I don't know what's next for his career, but it's just really bad situation for the Dallas, man. What's your take on the play-in?
So I think that not a lot of people would disagree. Man, like, the play-in was cool for, like, the first year or two. But, man, now that I really look at it, I hate that the 7th seed gets affected, because I think that if you're a 7th seed, you're good enough to not be affected and have to be pulled into the play-in and possibly, play one bad game and then two bad games, and then get kicked out. And I don't think that the 10th seed should be good enough to be given a chance to play in the playoffs and then just like get swept.
Like, exactly.
So I think that it should just be a game against the 8th and 9th seed. And I even talked about this with my dad, and he just said, like, I mean, at the end of the day, it's probably just for money. But even then, like, even if it's not for money, like, it's just such a waste of time. And just, like, it's worse for the fans. I just want to get to actual playoff basketball.
Yeah, I agree with you partially. I mean, obviously, it's a cool element. Like you said, I liked it the first year. But, yeah, it's kind of BS. If I remember correctly, last year when it was the Timberwolves versus Clippers for the 8th seed, I'm pretty sure, or for the 7th seed or something. Literally, the Clippers were by far a better team than all the other teams in the play-in. Yet they didn't make the playoffs because Paul George got COVID. And, obviously, Kawhi Leonard, he was out the whole season with his torn ACL. So they're stuck with absolutely nobody. So they don't make out the play-in. And then I'm pretty sure I think Charlotte was the 10 seed or something. And they played against like Atlanta, who was the 9 seed. And last year, they lost by 40. Like, what business does the Charlotte Hornets have being a 10 seed and fighting for a playoff spot? Like, there's no point. If it were to be an 8 and 9, maybe a quick 3-game series would make it better, because I don't really like the idea of a 1-game series to decide you're in the playoffs, you're out the playoffs. That's the reason why I think the play-in is better. Like, you get 2 shots. Either you win, you're in for the 7-8 game, or you get 2 chances for the 9-10, or the loser of the 7-8 gets another chance. I kind of like the structure of it, but yeah, I agree. It's kind of dumb in some ways. So I can definitely see what you're saying.
Yeah, like you said, like maybe it could be a 3-game series, but even then,
That would
that'd be like the same. Yeah, it would be the same amount of time as like it is right now, and it just like it takes more time for fans to watch their favorite team play in playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with the play-in. It's gonna stick around most likely for a long time, but yeah, like I mean, I like it this year in the Western Conference because like they're like playing. There deserves to be a play-in this year with the Western Conference because there are so many teams that could be in the playoffs, and nobody has any clue who's going to be the 7 or 8 seed, or even the 6 seed, or even the 5 seed. Like, nobody knows. In the Eastern Conference, it's kind of the same thing, but not really. You have the Bulls, who are the 10th seed. The Bulls have been horrible this year. I mean, you have the Raptors. The Raptors have been subpar as the 9th seed. Those two teams are going to play in the 9-10 game, and then one of them is going to win, and one of them is going to play against the loser of the 7-8 seed with a chance to make the playoffs. The Raptors and the Bulls, bro, they are going to get swept by the Bucks if they get into the playoffs. Like, it's just stupid, man. Like, man, so that's where I see where you're coming from. Although I like kind of the excitement of it. Like, as a viewer, it's kind of nice. But for example, if the Warriors were in the play-in a couple years ago, and that's where I really started to hate it because they lost to the Lakers. And then they lost to the Grizzlies. Like, they were the 8 seed, and they didn't make the playoffs. So that kind of was where it started for me. But, for example, if the Warriors fall into play-in this year, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know how much I trust that team in a one-and-done game situation. So that's where I think it's dumb. That's where I can definitely agree with you.
Yeah, and I think, what was I going to say? I think I lost it. Yeah, I think when I see the 7 and 8 team play each other, that's like when it is exciting. But like when I watch the 9th and 10th seeds, like I really could care less. It's just not as exciting for me personally. But that's why I would say it should just be 8th and 9th.
Okay, one last thing for the Western Conference. I just want to ask. Obviously, the Trailblazers are out of playoff contention now. I'm just gonna say this right. I'm gonna get over with. Damian Lillard needs to leave this offseason. Like, no doubts. Like, 100%. Like, you cannot convince me otherwise. Why the hell would he stay there? Damian Lillard has preached so many times he wants to win a ring. He wants to go somewhere else. Yeah, he just stays loyal. Like, dude, nobody's going to be mad at you for leaving after being there for 10-plus years and not taking them past the Western Conference Finals. And, well, the only time they went, they got swept. Like, and Damian Lillard, the organization doesn't treat him good. The best second option he's had is CJ McCollum, who has never been an all-star. And then the past years he's had Jeremy Grant. Like, that's not a playoff team. Jeremy Grant is your second option. Anthony Simons, who's still getting better. Like, Yusuf Nurkic. Like, I don't know, man. Like, it's just not. He needs to request a trade. Do you agree with me on that?
He is. I guarantee you he's going to request a trade. I mean, they even asked him, like, what do you think about, like, them rebuilding again this offseason? He said, like, he's not interested. So, like, I guarantee you.
Exactly. He doesn't want to be a part of the rebuild, which is exactly what Portland needs to do. They have nothing going for them. They need to trade everybody. They need to rebuild. But Damian Lillard's holding that back. Because every single year that he stays with the Trailblazers think in their mind, oh, we have a superstar in Damian Lillard on our team. That means we might have a chance to contend. So they end up getting some pieces, getting a Jeremy Grant, all to be the 12th or 13th seed. It's not good at all. Portland needs to start over, man. And Damian Lillard, he needs to go to a top 6 team like that is in need of a guard. Like, I can't think of a team off my head. I don't even want to think where he could land, but he needs to get the hell out of Portland. And Portland fans cannot be mad if he leaves. That man has stayed there twice as long as he should have.
Yeah, and before the Nuggets traded for Aaron Gordon, I actually wanted them to trade for Dame. I feel like maybe Jokic, Jamal, and Dame probably wouldn't have worked, but man, that definitely would have been something to see.
Yeah. Who knows where he's going to land, but all right, we want to thank you all for watching 5th episode of the Triple D's podcast. We'll be back with another episode soon. let us know if you agree with our takes on some Western Conference teams. David, you got anything to say before we head out?
No, thank you.
All right, we appreciate y'all for watching. We'll see you on the next episode.